What up, is Dane. In this video, it's going to be a value-packed video. I'm going to be telling you basically the fundamentals of building muscle, right? First of all, I'm going to say, do not think you know everything about building muscle, because what you know already is probably wrong, right? So let's get into the video. So the basics 101 of building muscle. Here goes. I'm going to talk about training, then nutrition. It's going to be very packed. So in training, let's start off with mechanical tension. I say this in a lot of my videos. Mechanical tension is getting stronger over a period of time. So that links in with progressive tension overload. That's the primary factor when it comes to muscle growth. And then I'll tell you about the secondary factor. This is almost just as important, right? So if you progress in one and don't progress in the other, then your muscle growth is not going to be maximized. So number one, mechanical tension. Make sure to add more weight onto the bar over time. That's so important, aka progressive tension overload. Number two, the second principle is metabolic stress, and that basically just means chasing the pump. So what exercises should you be doing in order to elicit metabolic stress? Here goes. First of all, you should be doing exercises that are shorter on an not eccentric, the concentric, meaning say for example you do a pec deck fly, and that's going to be the range of motion is going to be a lot shorter on a concentric, meaning you can squeeze more blood into the muscle, eliciting a greater pump. Basically, the movements that are shorter in range of motion are great for eliciting a pump. Now you probably think, okay, how does the pump relate to muscle growth? It basically relates, and there's a lot of factors into this: the metabolite build-up, and also the hypoxia effect, basically the blood gorging into the muscle. Then it sends a signal, the intramuscular signal, or the intramuscular effect for the muscle to grow bigger, right? That's basically the response. So that's the metabolic stress. The third one is muscle damage, and that interlinks with metabolic stress a little bit, because if you think about it, if you're chasing a pump, and most bodybuilders already do metabolic stress, but they don't do mechanical tension as much. So anyway, when you're chasing a pump, you usually use like different exercises, and that's basically what muscle damage is. It's just using a range of exercises, using a lot of variety to recruit all the muscle fibers, right? Because if you think about it, if you're just doing one exercise all the time, say for example the isolation exercises, right? Because you're not really gonna use too much variety in the compound exercises, which I don't really recommend you do. I just recommend you keep a few compound exercises in your program the same, and then change it maybe 1 or 2 months. But don't change it as often as the single joint isolation exercises. Now, the reason you want to change them quite frequently, maybe 1 to 2 weeks, is because you, like I said, you want to recruit all the muscular fibers, hit the muscle from different angles, right? Just because your lats, like the fibers kind of run diagonally, just because you're doing a lat pull down a row doesn't mean you're actually recruiting all the muscle fibers. Whereas if you change the angle, so for example, even just a different stance will recruit more muscle fibers, or different muscle fibers. I'm trying to speak a bit slower. So yeah, those are the 3 principles in order to get or gain muscle, or even the one-on-one muscle growth or mass class, whatever you want to call this shit anyway. So it's mechanical tension, second is metabolic stress, third is muscle damage. Now, the actual principles and the real main important 2 things are progressive tension overload. Like I said, this was linked in with mechanical tension, and the second one is increased volume load. Now, what does that mean? Volume load is basically your sets times your reps, and you can also, the reason why it's load is it's sets times reps times load, right? You may hear a lot of people say increase the volume, yes, but you also want to increase the volume load, because if you're not taking into account how much weight you're lifting as well, it's probably not going to be as accurate. But just for this video, let's keep it to volume, right? So if you're getting stronger over a period of time, that's great. That's basically a powerlifter. Now, if you want to like maximize muscle growth for like a natural bodybuilder, you need to elicit and you need to increase the volume. I don't know why I said elicit. So basically this is very simple. You need, I can't emphasize this enough, you need to periodize your program. I get so pissed off when I see these videos on YouTube that are saying do this, like that. It's basic stuff, right? But they're not telling you about progressive tension overload and increasing your volume, because if you're not doing more work over time, how's your muscle like meant to grow? It just doesn't make sense. So by increasing your volume, you can do this the following ways. First of all, you just periodize. Say week 1 you do maybe 15 sets per muscle group. Week 2 you maybe upped up by 2 sets, so 17 sets per muscle group. And one thing to remember as well, for the smaller muscle groups like the calves, the biceps, the triceps, you'll need less volume, maybe 12 to 13 sets. Now, typically I recommend you stick in a set range of about maybe 15 to 25 sets per muscle group, and this is more for intermediate lifter. For beginner, they need a lot less, because it's basically like maximal volume that your body can tolerate before it's just going to overtrain, and then the volume that your body's just not even going to respond to, is not going to even maintain a muscle growth. So stick to about 15 to 25 sets per muscle group. So now that we know that, we're going to start off with week 1, 15 sets, week 2, 17, week 3, 19, and then the end week, we're going to probably hit at 25 sets per muscle group. And as you can see, you're gradually building up this volume. Now when you get there, boom, you hit a deload or active recovery, maybe working a rep range of about 20 to 25 plus reps. Again, not like a great amount of mechanical tension at all. However, research, and again, this is coming from Bad Schoenfeld, muscle building expert, it shows working in a variety of rep ranges is the best for building muscle. So there we go, active recovery, then back into the strength phase, because I always say this, the reason you want to go back into the strength phase is you need that mechanical tension, and it allows you to lift more weight. And just think about this for a second, it allows you to lift more weight. When you go into the hypertrophy phase, you can lift more weight, which means higher mechanical tension and a greater time under tension, also leading to more metabolic stress. So all of this, it just kind of makes sense when you really think about it in a natural way. Now, if you're a bodybuilder taking steroids and stuff like this, you probably don't even really need to really think about all of these principles. However, a natural really does need to apply these principles for maximal growth. Now, one really important thing that I'd have to say is probably that a lot of people are going to neglect is the rep range of 20 to 25 plus reps. Now, research has been shown that just working in this rep range, it does actually increase muscle cross-sectional area, just by working in a rep range of say 20 to 25. And now one thing you have to mention though is you kind of need to go to failure almost every single time, or very close to failure, because if you get to 15 reps and you're not getting any fatigue in your muscles at all, then it's not really recruiting the full muscle fibers. Now when you get to the high end range and you really start to feel the burn, and that's basically when all the muscle fibers are being again contracted. Now one thing, and the very important thing about training in such a high rep range, let's call it the quote-unquote endurance rep range, right? You are like really targeting, say, the slow twitch muscle fibers, and as well as this, it does increase lactate threshold, so the buffering capacity, meaning when you go back into the hypertrophy phase, when you see you try to go for 8 to 12 reps, you might be able to get 1 or 2 more reps, because like I said, it improves the lactate threshold, buffering capacity, meaning you can squeeze a few more out. Now, geez, I'm talking quite fast, aren't I? So I hope you're understanding this. But it's just so simple, and this video is basically all you need to know when it comes to building muscle. Now, let me speak about nutrition, because this video is getting quite long, and I'm going to talk a bit slow because I get excited, alright? So, nutrition. As you already know, adherence is the most important part when it comes to nutrition. Number 2 is macronutrients, then it becomes micro, then meal timing, then meal frequency, then supplements. Basically the pyramid. I got this from Eric Helmsdon. He's a good guy, man. So anyway, nutrition. What do you need to eat or whatever to build muscle? Basically what you need to do is pick a diet that you can adhere to, which is sustainability, number 1. Number 2 is the macronutrients. However, you do not need to track every single macronutrient, and I highly recommend you don't when you're bulking. You can at first, just to get a rough estimate of how many calories you're eating, but if you're tracking macros your whole life, man, there's something wrong with you. That's like way too obsessed. So anyway, macronutrients is step number 1. So what you want to do is really focus on a protein intake, and a protein intake of even around 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. It's just a like good rough estimate, right? People say, and I used to say myself, that you don't even need to like get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. You can, like, if you just prefer a higher protein intake, that's like why I say that most of the time, especially when someone's dieting. I say 1 to 1.2 because a high protein intake does lead to more satiety. Now anyway, you're thinking about building muscle, right? So you actually need less protein because you have a lot more other nutrients in your body accessible and available. So that's protein intake. Not step number 2, the other macronutrients like carbohydrates and fats, you don't need to worry about that much at all. It's basically your protein intake and then the calories of the day. That's really all that matters. The carbohydrates and fats, it varies from person to person which one they prefer. or insulin resistant, insulin sensitive, all this kind of stuff. So, and of course insulin secretion, for example, I over secrete a lot of insulin, meaning I get very tired and eat a lot of carbohydrates. Now Renee, that's enough about me now. How do you calculate your calories, and not your macros in this case? How do you calculate how many calories you need to eat per day if you want to track it for the 1 to 2 weeks? You just do 15 times your body weight in pounds, and is for males. So if you're a female, you'll maybe do like 14, but 15 times your body weight in pounds. Once you have that number, plus about 500, right? There is a lot more to this as well, however, I don't want to get too much into that. So that's basically training and nutrition for building muscle mass. And yeah, we're coming towards the end of the video. I know I did talk about, a little bit like up and down, stuttery, blah blah blah, but who gives a shit? As long as you get out this video, progressive tension overload, metabolic stress, muscle damage, you're adhering to the diet, your macronutrient, remember your protein intake and the calories you need per day, you'll be good to go. That's basically all you need to know in order to build muscle for a natural lifter. So you're welcome, man. 11 videos, why can't I speak, man? What's going on? I think I need a speaking course. 11 minutes for a value packed video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below, give me your suggestions on the video. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree, disagree? And anyway, let me know if I should go to a speaking course, maybe. I don't know, be a good suggestion. So anyway, I just get excited. Stay positive, stay smiling, get big video series out. I want to cancel this shit in 6 days, so if you're interested, well, that's what I'm saying. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.